Lorraine used to call her children every Sunday. She'd sit at the kitchen table with her coffee cooling beside her, watching the clock move toward noon. She always hoped one of them would call first. Sometimes she even delayed dialing, just in case. They rarely did, so she called them, every week, because that's what mothers do. Then one day she stopped. Not because of a fight, not because someone said something unforgivable. She didn't make an announcement, didn't write a dramatic message. She just stopped. And something interesting happened. Her children noticed. Not right away, but eventually, and they didn't like it. This is Stories of Connection. Today's story is about what happens when a parent stops chasing, and what that silence reveals about everyone involved. For 15 years, Lorraine held her family together through small acts no one noticed. She remembered birthdays, sent holiday reminders, suggested dinners, bought gifts that somehow arrived exactly when they were needed. She was the calendar, the organizer, the emotional glue. She had 3 grown children. Michael, the oldest, lived 2 hours away with a demanding career, and 2 teenagers who always seemed to have tournaments or rehearsals. Sandra traveled constantly for work, chasing promotions across airports and time zones. Daniel, the youngest, lived 20 minutes away, which somehow made his absence feel louder than the others. Lorraine understood busy lives. She truly did. She never asked for long conversations, just connection, a call, a visit, a sign she still existed somewhere between their meetings and obligations. But the pattern never changed. "Hey Mom, can I call you later? We should plan something soon. Love you. Talk soon." Talk soon. Soon only happened when Lorraine made it happen. She told herself this was normal. Modern families were like this. People loved each other quietly now. Through convenience, through efficiency, through occasional emojis sent between errands. Still, there was a feeling she couldn't quite name. Waiting. Always waiting. The shift came on a Tuesday afternoon. Sandra had just ended another rushed call. Background airport noise. Apologies about boarding. Promises to talk longer next time. Lorraine set the phone down, sat at the kitchen table. And for the first time in years, she asked herself something simple. Why am I always the one calling? Not angrily, not tearfully, just honestly. She realized something uncomfortable. If she stopped reaching out, the silence might be permanent. And that thought scared her. But another thought followed. What if the silence was already there? What if she'd just been talking over it? So Lorraine made a decision. Not a test, not punishment. An experiment in truth. She stopped calling first. Stopped sending check-in texts. Stopped suggesting dinners. She didn't withdraw love. She withdrew effort. And then she waited. 3 weeks passed. Nothing. No calls, no texts, no one asking if she was okay. Sunday arrived. The quiet felt heavier than usual. Her hand hovered over the phone more than once. Habit is powerful. Loneliness is louder. She almost dialed Daniel. Almost. But she remembered something she'd realized days earlier. If she went back now, she would never know. So instead, Lorraine did something unexpected. She filled her calendar. Not out of revenge, out of curiosity. She joined a community garden, signed up for watercolor classes even though she hadn't painted since high school. Reconnected with 2 women she hadn't spoken to in 20 years. Booked a group trip to Portugal after nearly talking herself out of it 3 times. At first, it felt like pretending, like rearranging furniture in a house that still felt empty. But slowly, Quietly, her life expanded. She laughed more, stayed out later, learned the names of strangers who became friends. People who called just to ask if she wanted coffee. People who noticed when she didn't show up. For the first time in years, Lorraine wasn't someone's mother first. She was just Lorraine. And Lorraine turned out to be interesting. 6 months later, her children noticed. Michael called first. "Mom, is everything okay? We haven't talked much." Lorraine smiled. "I've been busy." He sounded confused. "Busy doing what?" "Portugal, the garden, painting classes, new friends." There was a long pause. "I didn't know you were doing all that." "You didn't ask." She didn't say it sharply, just truthfully, which somehow landed harder. Sandra called next. Her tone carried irritation more than concern. "Mom, you've been distant." Lorraine considered correcting her. Instead, she said, "I stopped being the one who reaches out first." Silence. "That feels passive-aggressive." Lorraine almost laughed. For 15 years, she had organized holidays and phone calls and emotional reassurance. Now, silence was aggression? "When was the last time you called me first?" she asked gently. Sandra didn't answer. Daniel came over after Sandra texted him that something was wrong with Mum. He walked into the house looking cautious, like he expected bad news. Instead, he found watercolor paintings drying on the table, suitcases stacked near the hallway, music playing. "You seem different," he said. "I am." He hesitated. "It feels like you don't need us anymore." Lorraine looked at him for a long moment. "I'll always love you," she said. "But you're right. I don't need you the way I used to." He frowned. "That sounds sad." "For who?" she asked. Here's what Lorraine realized. Her children didn't actually want her dependence, but they were comfortable with it. They liked knowing she would always call, always forgive missed birthdays, always rearrange her life around theirs. They wanted a mother who required nothing, because needing nothing never interrupted their schedules. When Lorraine stopped making herself endlessly available, they felt something new: responsibility. Sandra accused her of keeping score. Michael said she was punishing them. Daniel mostly looked confused, as if the rules of gravity had suddenly changed. But Lorraine wasn't punishing anyone. She had simply stopped volunteering to carry a relationship alone. Some people believe a parent should always keep trying, always forgive imbalance, always reach first. That's unconditional love. Others believe love without boundaries becomes selfish. Lorraine stopped arguing with either side. She just lived her life. 2 years have passed. The relationships didn't magically heal. There was no emotional speech, no tearful reunion. Real life rarely works like that. Michael calls more often now, sometimes just to ask about her paintings. Sandra still struggles. Sometimes she says things that sting. But now Lorraine notices something new. Sandra listens more too. Daniel visits once a month, which sounds small, until you remember it used to be twice a year. It isn't the family Lorraine imagined when she was younger, but it's honest. And honesty, she discovered, is quieter than happiness, but stronger. Lorraine is happy now, not because her children changed completely, because she did. She built a life that doesn't collapse when the phone doesn't ring, friends who call first, plans that don't wait for permission, peace that doesn't depend on being needed. So here's the uncomfortable question. If you stopped reaching out, who would notice, and how long would it take? Tell me honestly in the comments. Are you the one who always calls first? Or are you realizing someone else has been doing it for you? Because eventually, everyone sets down what they've been carrying alone. And when they do, the silence isn't punishment, it's information. This is Stories of Connection. True stories about family, time moving faster than we expect, and the moments that quietly change us. Let's meet again next week. Until then, don't wait.